Sorry. This is the opening of the Code Enforcement Board for Wednesday, February the 1st, 2023. We're going to start with you. We're going to start with the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, are there any questions, any changes?
Make a motion minutes be accepted as distributed.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, we're ready to move on to the first case.
So our first case is citation number 681, Section 4 of the Pond Creek subdivision in Goshen, Kentucky. It is case number 23-0001. The owner on record is Matt Jones Construction Company Incorporated of 1200 North Highway 1793 in Goshen, Kentucky. This hearing was not requested. This is a map of the general location. This is Section 4 of the Pond Creek subdivision development. It's this whole area with all the lots would be Section 4. It's not just the highlighted little blue area, it's all those lots. So this is a violation of the construction site runoff ordinance, Section 7. This came to me by the county engineers for the notice of, they sent a notice of violation for a referral for citation from the Oldham County Engineering Office. This kind of describes, you know, what they found. This is a copy of citation number 681 that was issued on January the 5th of 2023. This is a copy, continued copy of the citation, and this is where Matt Jones signed for the citation that was issued. Citation 681 was paid on January 25th of 2023 for the amount of $250. The developer is working with the county engineering office to bring the development into compliance, and therefore we're going to table this case at this time. Jim, do we need a motion to table it?
Before we do that, may I ask a question? Does the engineer have any questions or anything he wants to offer?
What was that?
Does the engineer have anything he wants to offer? Nothing?
He can certainly talk if he cares to, but we were just going to recommend tabling because they have an agreement on how to remedy after the fine was paid in the citation. There's a remedy, if you want to hear about that remedy, but because it's so wet out, they really shouldn't be doing any of the work. So we're recommending just simply tabling it so it remains an outstanding citation because it's not been remedied.
No, you answered my question. I wanted to know if there was a remedy. Okay, so we need a motion on the floor.
I make a motion that case number 23-001 be tabled at this time.
Second. All in favor say aye. Okay.
So if this gets remedied in the future, when we come to a meeting and we talk about old cases, we'll inform you that it's been closed. If for some reason it doesn't get remedied, but we expect it to, then we'll bring it back for your consideration on what to do next.
Did you say that the fine had already been paid?
Yes. So when you get a citation, there's a fine.
Yeah.
And also we still expect that you don't just pay the fine, that you mitigate whatever the issue is. And because it's not been remedied yet, because it's wet, on this one, we're just going to hang it out there till we can finally close it.
I remember that we've had this issue with them before, in Pond Creek, before we came on board. Same issues.
Okay, for our second case, it is case number 23-0002. This is 2800 18-Mile Creek Road. Let me pull it up here. This is in Westport, Kentucky. The owner on record is Anthony Bowl Julian of 2800 18-Mile Creek Road, Westport, Kentucky. This hearing was not requested. This is the location of the property in question. It's off of 18-Mile Creek Road. This is a violation of the open burning ordinance, KOC 05320-315. Open burning is prohibited. Section 4 says that you can burn household rubbish, means paper waste, material, and trash, not to include garbage, cans, glass, plastic, furniture, appliances, or other potentially hazardous waste material normally accumulated by a family in a residence. While doing inspections and follow-up on case number 22-0134 that involved 2800 18-Mile Creek Road, I observed and photographed the remains of furniture and mattresses that appeared to have been burned. Case 22-0134 was a nuisance violation that was associated with the 2800 18-Mile Creek Road address. The owner of the property was informed in a courtesy letter that I sent to him and by phone that these items could not be burned and that a citation would be issued if they were. I've got some pictures to kind of display. So this is a pile of debris that was in question that case 22-0134 was associated with. He received a courtesy letter for this pile. This is the courtesy letter that I sent him, and if you read in there, at the very bottom, I put burning of any material other than yard debris is a violation of the open burn ordinance, and a citation will be issued if it is not followed. This courtesy letter was issued on December the 13th. The owner called and requested an extension to have it cleaned up. I did grant him that extension. I gave him until January the 13th to have the property cleaned up. And again, the owner was, informed not to burn the furniture and mattresses that were in that pile. I did make a drive-by out that way on January the 4th. And as you can see from these pictures, as I was driving by, the pile had been burnt, and you can see the remains of sofa remnants and mattress springs in these pictures. With those pictures taken, I did issue the citation number 682, which was issued on January the 5th of 2023. When I went out to post the citation on the door, I got some closer up pictures of the mattress springs and of the remnants of the couch that had been burned. There's probably 5 or 6 mattress springs that were laying around that had been burned in that pile. This is a copy of the certified citation that was sent to him where he did sign for it, and on January the 6th where I posted the citation on the door. The owner did come into the office and paid the citation in the amount of $150 on January the 25th of 2023. The open burning ordinance allows for a fine of anywhere between $50 to $1,000. Our common fine for a first violation is $150, so that's what he was fined. On January the 13th, I did do a follow-up for the courtesy letter for the nuisance violation, and the property had been cleaned up and brought into compliance. There were no remains of the furniture, and the property is in complete compliance at this time. So case 22-0134, which was the nuisance violation, that case has been closed at this time. So are there any?
But we have a new case.
That's right. We have a different case.
So the citation was paid, and he came in, he did burn the furniture. He came in and paid the fine, and I gave him this court date when I issued that citation.
I understand. I'm just a little confused because the case number you put on our document today was 23-0002.
Correct.
which is
That's the case we're here for, because that was the citation that he was issued. So there's two different cases on this property.
Gotcha.
One of them was a nuisance violation, which has been closed.
Gotcha.
That nuisance violation is what caused me to find out that the burning of the material took place, which caused the citation, which was a new case.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now you want us to prepare a fine?
Well, I did fine him the 150, and he came in and fined it. He came in and paid it. I had already sent the information out to have this case presented to you all.
Okay.
And at this point in time, the fine's been paid and everything's
Okay,
been
now I know where we are, sorry.
remedied. Sorry. Yeah.
Took me a little moment to get there. Okay, so where we are now is this new case. We need to decide if we're in agreement that he has closed everything else, if we just want to close this and be done with it.
I have one question. That last photograph showed a pile of debris there.
Correct.
Is that current?
That was the current pile that was out there on January the 13th. There was no trash, no furniture in that pile. It was just yard debris, sticks and stuff, that is permitted to burn, and that is legal. That would not be a violation to have that on the property. If he cleaned his property up, he piles it up and it's too wet and he's going to burn it at a later time, that is allowed. I guess one of my questions is, obviously this was a first-time offense for him. Where are we going to go? He knows now not to do it. What is going to be the repercussions if this occurs again for a second time at that location?
We really can't make a guess at
Okay.
what might happen in the future. So at this point, it really is just this case.
So I need a motion or a discussion, or how do we want to proceed? This is a closed,
I'll make a motion that case number 23-0002, citation number 682, be closed because of the fine has been paid and the property's been cleaned up.
okay? Can I have a second? Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Adam, you did a very good job.
Now I'm going to update on. So for old business, case 22-0050, this was 7401 Glenwood Avenue. This was the garage that, I do have a picture. This was the garage with all the vehicles out front and all the trash that was laying around. The first picture you have here is from March 18th of 2022, which initiated the case. And the second picture is from July 30th of 2023.
Can't be.
I apologize. It was should say
Thank you.
January 30th of 23.
I know it's going fast
It
this
was
year.
actually January 30th of 23. Yeah. These are also the same pictures, one of them from March the 18th and one from, January the 30th. The property has been picked up a little bit. It is still not in compliance. So there has been a summons issued for a criminal court. As of today, that summons is in Jefferson County hands where he resides, and to my knowledge, it has yet to be served to send him to criminal court. There was a lien placed on the property for the $950. I did place that lien. That lien has since been paid in full, so the fine has been paid. That's where we stand on that property right now.
Is doing some work to continue to clean up the property.
He is continuing. I have not been in communication with him. I've tried calling him a couple of times. Obviously, you can tell by the pictures, a little bit of work is taking place, but it's still in violation at this point in time.
What's the charge? You said there was a criminal charge.
It's for the nuisance complaint.
For the nuisance complaint.
Yes. I think you all had agreed to send him to criminal charges if it wasn't brought into compliance, and it had never been brought into compliance by that date. So that's where we stand right now, is waiting.
Adam, just a refresher, that was part of the decision of the code board, correct?
Correct.
That if it wasn't cleaned up, that we file a criminal complaint, which is where it goes after the code board if we don't have.
And I don't remember, but this was an ongoing thing. This has
Yeah.
been going on for a long, long, long number of years.
Yes, the gentleman that's staying there that doesn't pay and.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And he was here.
Yeah, he was here.
So and he's paid the fines. I mean, there is some communication. He's just not getting it all done.
He's just not getting it done very quick. The next case was 21-0038. This was 7307 Peyton Avenue. Your all's final order was to bring the property into compliance within 30 days of September the 7th of 2022. You all did waive the fine of the $150. The property still is not fully in compliance. I have been in communication with her on an ongoing basis. In my opinion, she still needs one, possibly two more dumpsters. I've got some pictures. So as you can see, October the 24th of 2022, the pile that was there, this was as of January the 30th of 23 to the right of it. It looks like there's about one dumpster left to be picked up. She actually just texted me right before this meeting. She said, please give her some time. She's working on it. It has been medical issues and financial issues. And they do intend on getting it cleaned up. Can you just give them a little bit more time? They've got to rent another dumpster or two. I think she said she's already had 5 or 6 dumpsters, and they run somewhere in the neighborhood of about $600 a piece. So that's where we're at on that one. Do y'all have any recommendations, or where do y'all want to go from here on that one?
What's your recommendation?
I would say give her the time. She does communicate with me monthly. Every time I call her, she responds back to me. And if it's financial issues, and if she's already spent 5 to 6 dumpsters, you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000 she's already spent. She's done quite a bit of work on the property, and if she only requires 1, maybe 2 more dumpsters, I say we give her another month or 2 to get them dumpsters in there, get it cleaned up, and we'll go from there.
Any more complaints from the original complainer?
I have not received any complaints on the property. In general, most of the neighbors are glad to see it getting cleaned up.
So as a recommendation, we just need to make a board recommendation?
And she came the last meeting.
She was here. Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we give her another 45 days.
Okay.
That'll be sufficient.
Need a second? We got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion is carried.
That'll get us through into spring. Almost.
Case 22-0113, this was 6905 Abbott Lane. This one, you all, they refused, there was no permits on the property. You had them pay a civil fine for the citation in the amount of $250 due within 30 days of December the 2nd, 2022. It had to be paid by then. After that, the fine would be $500. She did come in and pay that, and the property has remained in compliance. She paid it on November the 23rd for $250, and the property has remained in compliance. She's gotten all permits that are needed and all inspections. That was actually one of the cases from the last hearing. The next one was 7401 Derby Drive. Again, this was involving permits not being issued. The gentleman did come in. He actually showed up to the meeting. He got all his permits. You all did not have a fine, so that property is completely in compliance. We've had no issues with that property. 2050 Jericho Road. The respondent, you all gave them until November the 14th to bring the property into compliance. If the property was not brought into compliance by November the 14th, then a $150 fine would be collected. She did not have it in compliance by November the 14th. It was a little bit of time after that. She had to rent a dumpster and haul it all off. I did go by the house on January the 18th. And took some pictures because the property was completely cleaned up. As you can see, October the 7th, what it looked like versus January the 18th when I drove by. That's looking directly at the house, and this was kind of to the left of the house, October the 7th versus January the 18th. She has had the property completely cleaned up. I know she was at the meeting. She ran into a lot of issues on getting it cleaned up. I guess the question for you all is, where are you all at on the $150 fine?
What was it we said about the fine?
You all was going to have her pay it if it wasn't
Certain date?
done by November the 14th. My recommendation is to waive this fine. She did get it cleaned up, and it was a matter of getting a dumpster in there and having it all hauled off. And I have had no complaints on the property since it's been cleaned up.
I move that we waive the fine since the property is in compliance.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
And that should do it for the day.
Well, I'm going to just say one thing about that piece of property, because now I recognize which one it was. It looked like it was an ongoing yard sale every day.
Was.
Oh, it was. Okay. All right. Is there any other business to come before us at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we are adjourned.